Hello, hello, everyone. It is Brenda here for Stamplicity, and welcome to What's Up Wednesday. All right, this evening we're going to have some sweet fun, and this is one I've been wanting to do for a while. It is a collection from Hero Arts. It's the Beary Sweet collection. It is all about gummy bears, gummy worms, sours, Swedish fish, all those wonderful sweet treats that so many of us love. It's a collection that was put out by Carly T, and it is so much fun. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, and we kept on selling out a few of the things, and then it was on back order forever, and we finally got it back in stock. So we are doing it this evening. So hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Up Wednesday. All right. So I'm going to switch my cameras down and let's get going here. All right. So let's talk about this collection first. There is a few different ways that you can kind of do this. You can do the products a la carte, or you can do the I Want It All bundle, and that's going to be your best bang for your buck. But you really need to really enjoy candy and have lots of people in your life that enjoy candy and appreciate these cards. They are very well thought out products, and I just love them. All right, so I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to make sure I get the names correct on this one. And this is called Bear Hugs. All right, so you might have seen this die before. I used it in when we did the chip bag from Hero Arts, and I did a little bag of gummy bears, and that's where the die came from. So you might have seen this before, but we're going to play around with this one here. And then, like I said, this is called Bear Hugs. And I love this one because you can make a shaped card with it. You've got little gummy bears. You got the tiny gummy bears, you got the regular gummy bears, and you've got some of the little bits and pieces to highlight them. And this guy here is fun, and I'm going to show you a couple ways on how to use him. So that's Bear Hugs. And then this is the candy kebab one. Now, we're not going to be using this one this evening. I got carried away with some of the other products, and my goal is to make 6 cards this evening. This one did not make the cut, and I so wanted to because this makes the coolest candy kebab. So maybe we'll just have to make it off camera, and then I'll just show you the sample. But that one's really sweet. This one here, I forget the name of this one. But this is like the old-fashioned candy jar. It's really cool when it's done. You've got the candy jar, you've got the scoop, the lid is there, and then you've got all those kind of hard candies in there, the highlights. I've seen this done as a shaker card as well. Again, we're not going to use this evening. These are the two we're not using. We're going to use all the other products, all right? This is called, oh no, this is called Big Hugs bundle. And this one here, we have the stamp set that's got the large word big and hugs. And then we've got these lovely little half circle greetings that work with it. So we're going to be playing around with that. All right. So we have that one. And then last but not least is, oh, I forget the name of this one. Ooh. Oh, and maybe it's on here. Let's stick together. All right. And this one here, again, is all about the gummy candies. This is an easy one because or easy stamp set, I should say, because you have the outline and the solid. You don't have to worry about coloring these. You can use your inks to color these ones in. So this one here has got all the different types of gummies. All right. Then it's got little sayings that go along with it. And then, of course, the coordinating die set. All right. So I think everything is in stock except for this one. But let us know if this is something that you do want, because we'll get it on our next order, or we'll break up one of the bundles that we have. All right. So you can get the I Want It All bundle that had all of those, plus the little package of the tiny gummy bear shaker elements. I don't have them here, but they are super cute. And if you watched our happy hour, I think last week, I showed you them. All right. So I don't know why I'm putting that away because I need that. So that's what we're going to go. I'm going to make some sweet cards this evening. All right. So let's start with this one, the Great Big Bear Hugs, which I absolutely love. Now, I've taken the liberty of already die cutting everything out because I'm being an overachiever yet again, because I kept on wanting to do more and more with this collection. So we're going to start. Where are we going to start? All right. We are going to start using that. I'm going to use that as a shape card. All right. So I'm going to just grab my little tray of my die cut goodies here. And before I get started, if you are watching and this is new to you, if you have any questions throughout the live, usually it's about an hour long. Just pop them in the comments. I can see them whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. I see the comments come through to me and I'll answer them the best I can during the live. All right, so please do that. And let's get going. All right, so this is using the Beary or the Bear Hugs die set. This is a standalone die set. And what I did is I've used this die here and I cut it out of a pale pink. Now, here's the cool thing about this. You have all the kind of debossed parts on there to fill in the eyes and the nose, which is a die cut. So you know where perfect placement is for this. But take a look. All right, do you see his little paws? They have little slits that you can slide things into, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to show you this heart will actually fit in there, so you can have that and you can have a little message on that heart if you wanted to. But this little guy will also hold like a chapstick. He will hold a little bag of candy, which makes it a super cute, you know, not an interactive card, but kind of an interactive card, which is kind of cool. So we're going to make this into a shaped card because you know me, I love my shaped cards. So I'm going to start with having the two bears. This is going to be our front and this is going to be our back side. So this one here is this die cut here. And then the solid one is the outline die. So I cut the solid out of white and then the front will be out of pink. All right. Oh, and I forgot to grab my paper score. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our back side. So this will make the inside of our card or the back side of our card. And I'm going to take our little die cut bear here and I'm going to score at 1 inch. All right. So I'm just laying that bear horizontally in my score. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go right kind of underneath where his ears. All right. It's not quite 1 inch. Well, it is, I guess. And that's where I'm going to score. That seems logical. All right, so I put a little score line on there. All right, so I'm going to bring that to the camera. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and fold that back and forth. And that's going to be the fold of our card. All right, so I'm going to grab my bone folder now and really crisp up that score line. And then I'm going to fold it the other way and crisp up that score line so that that paper now knows to bend back and forth. All right. Now I'm going to put glue or adhesive above that score line. All right, so I'm just going to use a liquid glue. I like using liquid glue because once it's dry, it holds well. And second of all, if I don't get things lined up, I have a few seconds to shimmy it here and there to get it perfect. All right. Now I'm going to take my other bear and I am going to now match it up. And give it a good little squeeze so that glue kind of tacks together. The papers tack together. And I'm going to let it glue, but now you can see we have a little shaped card. All right, so now we've got this cute little gummy bear shaped card, which is super sweet. All right, now what I love about this is that you're going to be able to use this for many occasions. All right, so this makes a cute little birthday card for a little one. All right, it also is a great baby card. All right, with a little bear. All right, you could make this into a teddy bear, a pink bear, a blue bear, a green bear, a yellow bear, whatever you want. It could be a gummy bear. So many different ways that you can use this and it just makes you smile. All right. So let's finish up the details on this one here. So there is a die here that will do this one right here, which will do his eyes and his nose. So I'm just going to put glue and it's easy placement because they have the little debossed marks on there. So really simple just to kind of pick them up and then place. All right. So I'm just using one of my wax tip tools here. All right. And I'm just picking up and placing the eyeballs. And I just want a darker shade. I'm making this into kind of a gummy bear. So we're just going to put that on there. All right. And then the nose, again, that is just going to place right there. And shimmy it just a, up. There we go. All right, super cute. All right, so there he is. Isn't he cute? All right, and then there are little highlights. Now the highlights are really going to make him look like that gummy bear. So I'm going to place all my little highlights down first, and then I'm going to glue them down. The highlights are all kind of different sizing, but they will all work on here. Da, da. I love these little highlights. There's just makes. All right, so this one here. Oop, not that one. All right, I'm just going to put them in place and then I'm going to glue them down just so that I get proper placement. And I don't know where this one goes. I think I have these ones mixed up here. There we go. We'll put that one on his ear. All right, I think I'm just going to go with that. Okay, so I'm going to just glue these in place now. And I'm just going to pick them up with my wax tool, add a little glue, and just place. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use my tweezers. This is the finicky part of it, but okay, there we go. All right, here we go. Now I think I've got a little system here. All right, and one more. I forgot to grab a little treat from downstairs to put in his little paws here. All right, so there is that. Now we could add a little bit of ink to, on the one edge as well. I should have done that, but I didn't. But let me just show you that this can hold things. All right, so what do I got here that we can put in? Let's just see what's in my drawer here. Doo-doo. One would think I'd have a chapstick in my drawer. All right, nope, but I have a little thing of Tic Tacs. I mean, I couldn't get a smaller thing of Tic Tacs, but anyways, just to show you that he can hold on to things. So you could have a little treat. Look at that. Look how cute that is. And that would make a cute little favor. Like I said, it will hold a chapstick. You can hold a little thing of Tic Tacs. You can put a little, the little fruit snacks, little gummy bear snacks on there, and that is super cute. And that now is a cute little shaped card. Again, that would be perfect for favors, little gift bags, perfect, that kind of stuff. All right, so that is the little gummy bear card, shaped card. All right, so there is number one. All right, done. So I'm just going to put that to the side. And let's do another one on a regular card now to show you how it works on a regular card. All right, so I have a card base here. I've cut the bear out of this lovely teal color, and I'm going to do a little inking on him, I think, just to show you you can do a little inking. So I'm just going to grab, what am I going to grab? I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab Peacock Feathers Distress ink. And we're just going to give him a light shading on the one side. So I'm just going to pick up some ink. All right, and I'm just going to give him just a light little kind of faded shadow from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. All right, it's just very light. So we want more of that ink on the left-hand side, and we're kind of just fading it to the right-hand side. All right, so you can kind of see that we have that on there. And just want to clean that ink off. All right, and now we're going to kind of do the same thing. With this, we're going to build him, and then I'm going to put him on the card. We're going to do a little verse on there as well. So let's do his little eyes. I mean, this one goes together so quickly. And his eyes and his nose, I just cut out of darker teal. This is all Spellbinders cardstock. We love their cardstock. All right. Okay, whoop. Slid around too much there. All right, there is our little gummy bear. Look how sweet he is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put the highlights on him. So I'm just going to randomly just grab these and then just put them on these little highlights. Doo, doo. Okay, so I've got the little highlights done. And I'm not going to worry about the ones on the legs because we're actually going to chop his little legs off. All right. All right. So what we're going to do is he's going to go down on here, and I'm actually going to trim the rest of it off. I want to leave enough room for the word hugs. Actually, maybe I'll do that first. All right. So we're going to bring in that big hug stamp set now. So we're going to do our little sentiment on here. So I'm going to use my stamp, my Misty here, and we are going to grab our hugs. All right. So the word hugs, I'm going to pull off here. So this is just the stamp set. It does have the matching die, and we'll use that in a second. But I'm just going to put the hugs near the top. Push that right into the corner there. I'm going to put this near the top, and I'm going to center as best I can left to right. All right. So that looks good to me. Looks straight. Okay. Because I am going to combine this with a kind of a coral heart here, I'm going to use just Peachy for 49 a market to stamp this. Now I am going to stand up to do this. So I might build this up a few times. All right. So because this is such a light color. All right, so that's my first one. You can see it's a light color. This also needs to be re-inked. I've been using this color a lot. It is a light color, so you have to build it up. Sorry, I know I'm shaking the camera. It's such a pretty color, this just peachy though. Okay, maybe one more time. And beautiful. All right. So we've got a lovely hugs on there in that lovely coral color. All right, so we're good with that. I'm going to take my stamp off, and then they have little sayings that go with the hugs, all right? So you've got half moon sayings on this stamp set. You know, sending healing hugs, hugs for to a good human, sending love and big hugs just for you, like lots of different little sayings in the half moon. And then we have long distance, big squishy, I miss your, and no words, just, and then you could use the word hugs, all right? So I'm going to use the word big, or the word big squishy. And we are going to place that kind of just above the hugs here. I'm going to kind of over the H and the U. And we're going to stamp that in black. How'd I do getting that pretty, I got that pretty straight. I'm going to bring it down just a tad bit. All right, I think we're good there. Okay, let's do that in black. So I'm just going to grab my VersaFine Clear. Now, with something as small as this little phrase here, little pressure, all right, little pressure. So I'm not going to give it CPR, just little pressure, all right? You can always go and stamp it again, but that turned out really, really well. So I'm going to leave that as is. Going to take that off, put it back with my stamp set. And now I am ready to put Mr. Bear on. All right. Actually, you know what? Before I put Mr. Bear on there, I think I'm going to splatter this with a little bit of black, watercolor paint. All right. Just to bring in a little bit more of that black. If you're not familiar with this, you see me use it all the time. This is the black. This is Japanese watercolor paint. It is lovely. It's highly pigmented. All right, highly pigmented. A little is going to go a long way. This is going to last me. Honestly, I have all the colors. I love this stuff because you know what? When I splatter with it, and if it gets on me, I don't care. It's watercolor. It will wash out. So it's a little bit different from using like acrylic paint or, you know, the Dina Wakley gloss gel because that stuff doesn't come out. All right, you get it on you, on your clothes, it doesn't come out. So with this, it does wash out. It's watercolor, and it gives you that same effect. So I'm just grabbing a paintbrush. And let's do a little bit of splattering. I'm just letting my paintbrush off camera here. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm going to, I am going to cover my, I know, Post-it note here, my hugs here. I don't want splatters on my hugs. So I am just going to mask that off just with a little Post-it note. And now I can splatter. Okay, I'm happy with that. It is minimal splattering. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to clean up my mess before I go any further. All right, let's take my little Post-it note. All right, so you can see my little black splatter there. I'm going to heat that with a heat tool just so I can carry on. Normally, I would just let that dry by itself, but just zap it with a heat tool. And I have minimal splatter on there, so it will dry really, really quickly. To me, these are really clean and simple cards, even though we have a little black splatter on there. There's not a whole lot going on these cards, so they're very clean. I'm going to grab my little bear now, and he's going to go kind of just underneath that hugs, all right? So we're going to glue him. We're going to center him left to right here, and then we're going to cut off his poor little legs, all right? So poor little guy. Oh, And of course, I forgot that I'm putting a heart in his hand. So I don't want to put glue on his little top paws. So you can put glue everywhere else, but we want to be able to open up his little paws to put that little heart in there. So I nearly glued him closed. All right, so center it left to right. Do, do. One. All right. I'll let that glue set, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up his little arms here, make sure they're not glued down. See, they're opened up. Again, you can put little, he could hold a little sign, a little message. It would be really sweet. I just used the heart from the die, and I did it in a lovely coral color. That's why we chose that coral for the hugs. And now we can put this little heart in his little hands or his little paws. And he's sending a little hug. All right. Now, I don't really even need to glue that in. It's going to hold. Look how sweet that is. All right. But if you feel like you need to glue that heart in, then go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on the back side of it. I'm going to go grab my scissors now and let's cut off his legs. You could use a paper trimmer as well, but it's just as easy to do that. And now there is our cute big squishy hugs. All right, so super sweet. And doesn't that just make you smile? I mean, it's super sweet. Oh, his nose got carried away. It got, oh, I gotta fix his nose. The glue was not dry and it slid. Oh, that was a good catch. All right. Poor little guy, his nose. All right, now he's all evened up. All right, there we go. All right, so super cute. Our little or he's not our big gummy bear. All right, so I've used him in two ways. I've used him to make a little shaped card, holding a little snack, and then we also have the big squishy hugs. All right, so super sweet. Okay, I'm gonna put those to the side, and we're gonna carry on because, like I said, I have lots planned for this evening. What do you think, guys? Super cute? All right, let's move on. I'm going to work with the same die set here, and we're going to do a card with the little mini gummy bears here, all right? So in addition to the large one, you are going to get a squishy bear here, but you're also going to get kind of, I'm going to say a medium-sized bear, and then you're going to get the tiny gummy bear, all right? So my sample is at the store, but I used the chip bag from Hero Arts, and then I made it into a bag full of gummy bears, and I used a small one. This one here, I'm going to use the regular size. Now, there are two different, or three different, I think, here. So we have a solid one, and then this one here, I'm going to bring it up to the camera. This one here cuts out the nose and the eyes and the little highlights. So basically, you can cut this out of a color, and then would cut this out of white, and then the highlights will show through, and I'm going to be doing that for my next card. And then this little guy here, it just cuts out his eyes and his nose, all right? So you could back it with some black, and so you can get different looks with these ones, all right? So I like the fact that they kind of gave you everything to do all the things, all right? So, okay, so let's move on to the next one, and we're going to use the little gummy bears with the highlights. Okay, so I cut these little gummy bears out of all the colors, all right? So, and this is what I mean when you cut it out, all right? So the little highlights cut out as well, so then you can back a solid one behind it. I cut it out of white, and then you're going to get that kind of look here. All right, so I did a variety of colors here. So I did purple and pink and a coral, green, a really bright blue, a yellow, a lovely teal, a red, and orange. All right, so I glued some of them together already, just so that you wouldn't watch me glue the whole night here. I left two to put together. So I cut the base in white and then the overlays in the different bright colors, and we're going to glue these together so that we get that highlighted, or that bear with the highlights on it. So just a couple of little dabs of glue on there, and I like using glue because if I don't get things lined up, I can shimmy it All right, so there's one, and then we'll do our orange one. All right, so we got all our little gummy bears here now. All right, so super cute. Okay, so I think I want to speckle this with black again. So we're gonna do that. So let me just pick this up, and I'm going to speckle this. All right, just minimal. All right, just to give it a little bit of interest in the background. If you didn't like the speckle, you don't have to do the speckle. It's just giving a little bit of interest in the background. I am going to zap that with the heat tool just to dry it. Amy is asking, what glue am I using? Amy, I am using Beary Art Precision Craft Glue. I think this has become my new favorite. Now, let me just dry and talk at the same time here. I used to be always an art glitter girl. All right, so that's the dries clear. We've done it, carried it for years. I mean, I've been using it for probably 20 plus years. But the problem is that it doesn't shift during the winter months. It doesn't like to get cold. It doesn't like to be frozen because it changes the consistency of it. So, um, we always um, we always had an issue during winter. Even though I would stock up on this before the colder temperatures come, we always run out. So we needed to have a second glue that would ship during the winter months. And Beary Arts glue, everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about how wonderful this glue was. So we started carrying it a few years ago. And just this season, I would use it, but I still go back to my dries clear. Just this past season, I'm using it now because I cannot get dries clear is still out of stock at my distributor. The temperatures have been stupid. All right. So I don't want to order direct either because it's still not consistent enough. And I'm worried that consistency will change on the art glitter glue. So now I'm using Beary Arts. The cool thing about this is a little goes a long way. But all your nozzles come with it. You don't have to buy anything separate. All right. So this is a 2-ounce bottle. There's a 4-ounce bottle. And then you can get the refills and such. It comes with a fine tip, a regular tip, and it comes with the pin. All right. So when I'm not using it, I stick that pin so that it always clears out the metal nozzle, and it's great. And it is awesome. All right. I do find it a little bit thicker than the dries clear. But this is my new favorite glue, everyone. So thanks for asking. You got a big long answer for something so simple, but yeah. Okay, so there is my panel that's speckled, all right? And now we are going to we're going to arrange these little bears. Actually, I'm going to trim this panel to 4 by 5 1/4 because then I'm going to mat it on a black cardstock afterwards. So let me just trim that down. Doo-doo. So 4 by 5 1/4, and then we're going to stamp a little sentiment at the bottom. All right, so from the sentiments, we are going to, what am I going to do? Um, I'm not going to do the big bear hugs. I think I'm going to go with this stamp set. So this is the Let's Stick Together, and I'm going to choose a little saying, oh, I know you can't read that, but it says, I'm very glad we're friends. And I'm going to stamp that at the very bottom. This is why I love this whole collection. Everything works so well together. If you love candy, then you have to have the I Want It All bundle. Just saying, because then you get everything that's awesome in this. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to just arrange it at the bottom here, and then I'm going to arrange my little bears above that. All right, so that looks centered. But not very straight. All right, let's see. Okay, I think it's straight. We're going to go with it. And I'm just going to stamp this with black ink. All right. Again, very dainty, very tiny letters and a sentiment here. So little pressure when you use an acrylic block or the stamp press here, Misty. All right. So you can always go back over top of it, but don't give it CPR. Okay. I'm going to go over it one more time just to deepen that up. The beauty of having a Misty or stamp platform is that everything is held in place. Beautiful. Ah, I love it. I love it when that happens. It's such a good feeling when you lift up your Misty platform and it stands beautiful. All right, so there is, I'm very glad we're friends. All right, and now we're gonna arrange our little guys here. So I'm just going to place them, I'm gonna do 3 across, 3 down, all right? And we'll just kind of eyeball things. Actually, let's move that coral one. Look how cute that is. Oh my gosh. Oh, hang on. I don't have enough. I need one more. Ah! Oh no, here he is, the teal one. I thought maybe I was like, I'm sure I counted 9 when I was die cutting. All right, there we go. Look how cute that is. Ah! All right, so I think these need to be popped up. All right, so let's grab our foam, my foam adhesives. And I'm going to start at the bottom. And once I get my bottom row, then it's going to go together really, really quickly. All right, so you know what? I'm not going to pop them all. I think I'm going to just have them random. Oops, random, some popped and some flat. I think that's going to create some nice interest. All right, so this one's going to go down flat. Something like so. This one can go down flat. And let's pop this one. All right, he's down. He's stuck down. All right, this one can go up. What would be really cute too if we put a little wobble behind one of these, the one in the middle maybe. I didn't think of that sooner, but that would be really cute as well. All right, and then this one we will pop up. This one's going to go down, and then well, let's get this one down first. And I think I'll pop that one up. The green one will be popped up. And what a cute and a really effective card. Not difficult to do. I mean, it took me no time to die cut these. I know I didn't do it on camera, but if you would have seen me this afternoon, just before dinner time, I was a mad woman getting everything prepped. I was doing class videos all day. Honestly, I've been talking to myself for like 6 hours today. Well, I shouldn't say I'm talking to the camera. My cat was here, you know, overlooking things. But honestly, that was what I was doing. So then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock. I got to get things prepped for this evening. So then I was a mad woman die cutting. And honestly, it didn't take me that very long. All right. So there's that card. Look how sweet that is. Really simple to do. I'm going to back that on a piece of cardstock. I'll do that off camera though, and then I'll take a picture of it. But how sweet is that? All right. Ah, those little gummies are just so cute. All right, so we got big gummy bears, we got little gummy bears. Let's move on to the next thing with this collection. And we're going to work with that Hugs again, that Big Hugs stamp set. All right, so let me grab another piece, and you'll notice I'm just using a lot of white paper for this. It's just, these are quick and simple cards. There's nothing difficult with them. All right, so I took it upon myself to cut out from the Big Hugs um, the coordinating die set. This is kind of a cool die set because you get the shadow as well as the individual letters, all right? So you can use these independently, or you can stack them onto the shadow, which is always a great option. So you've got the word big and hugs. And again, you could stamp this and then use the die cut to go to cut this out. You can use a shadow for it as well. And then you've got these wonderful little sayings to use as well. Okay, so I am going to speckle this with black again, all right? I like the look of the thin speckle in the background, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, all right, it's going on so fine. It's lovely. Look at that. Lovely, lovely. You can hardly see it, but it's such a nice fine speckle on there. Okay, let's zap that with the heat tool. All right, I got 3 cards done in 40 minutes. That's not bad. Okay. That is dry. Okay. So first things first is we're going to combine a little bear on this one. But the little bear we're going to use is from Let's Stick Together. There's a cute little gummy bear here. So we're going to use that little guy here. All right. We're going to get into this set in a second and explain a little bit more, but I'm just going to use the outline bear on this one. So I'm going to go ahead, and he's going to be kind of hiding behind our little hugs word. So I am just going to I think I'm just going to just do it. I'm just going to place him right there. All right, I'm just going to commit. Make him straight. Where's my shifter over tool? All right, I think we're good there. I think he's straight. We're going to go with it. All right. So we're going to stamp this in black. Oh my God, he's so cute. Again, very dainty lines on here. You don't have to give him CPR. All right, I am going to go stamp it one more time just to deepen it up. He stamped pretty good. There he is. How cute is he? Okay, I'm going to put him back on the stamp set so I do not forget. And I'm going to go grab a little Copic marker now, or an alcohol ink marker, in a soft pink, and I'm just going to rosy up his cheeks. So I don't know where my pink is. Oh, that one will do. Oh, this is not a true pink, but it's a light violet. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, just underneath his eye to the right and left of his little mouth, I'm just going to do a little poke it out there so you can see he's got little rosy cheeks now. All right, so there is that. Okay, now I'm going to use the die cut word hugs, and I just die cut it out of some teals, blues, and greens. All right, so we have H, U, G, and S. Oops, this one here, S. All right, so we're going to use those ones there, and this is going to be kind of just we're going to like put it right over top of the little bear there. And we're going to space these out. So he's just kind of peeking. I'm going to get placement. I'm going to glue these down. And then we're also going to stamp another verse underneath the G. All right. So I'm happy with that. Now, if you are worried about getting this straight, Pear Blossom Press has these. These are the T-squares. You can get them in the longer ones as well, but this is a great way to get things straight. All right, so I'm just going to kind of hook it onto my paper here. It's not going to slide no more, and then I can just glue. And I'm going to stand up to do this, but then I can layer my words right, and that's going to make it straight. All right, so these little T-squares are a handy thing to have. All right, and the G, of course, I will have to, because of the tail on the G, it's not going to work so well, but the rest of them I can get in a row and straight. Okay, so let's get our H down first. Okay, so my G, I'm just going to move that over ever so slightly, just to get proper placement, and then we can put our S down. Okay, so that is pretty straight. I'm just going to put that G down. All right, so we have our little hug with our little bear behind it. How cute is that? But we're going to add one more little sentiment on here. So the stamp set that works with the big, or the stamp set that comes with the big hugs, you've got these little rounded ones, and you have ones that will fit over top of, excuse me, you know, the different, you know, the H's, the words, the little icons as well. And you have ones that will fit half circle that go the other way. So we can do hugs and kisses, hugs, I'm here for you, hugs to a good human, hugs just for you, and hugs enclosed, hugs from me to you. Those are all the ones that are at the bottom of the half circle. All right. So I think I'm going to, I'm here for you. I'm going to use that one. I think that's a really good one. Really cute little bear. All right, so I'm going to grab that, and then I'm going to grab my stamping platform. Oh, my supervisor just came to check out what I'm doing. Master Jasper is back. He's up on the bed right now, watching me what I'm doing. He's been watching me all afternoon, all day. All right, so this is just going to fit around that G. All right, it will just fit. It is kind of I mean, it's made for that. So again, I'm just going to stand up just to get my placement here. I need my little nudger. I keep on moving it. Okay. I think I am good. And I'm just double checking that. Oh, I got to bring it down just a little bit. Oopsie, that was a little too much. Okay, I think I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. All right, we're going to stamp that in black. Again, little dainty words, so not lots of pressure. All right. See how that just rounds around that G, the tail of the G. I didn't get it perfectly lined up. I should have been shifted it a little bit more, but that's okay. I'm just going to go with it. All right. It turned out okay. Stop being such a perfectionist, Brenda. Okay, so I'm going to put that back in the stamp set, and then that one is done. Again, I can trim that down ever so slightly and put it on a black background, or just leave it as is. We could put a little gems on there, but just a really simple card to just send a simple little message saying I'm here for you. All right, just so that is the cute little gummy bear stamp with the word die cut word hugs, and then the coordinating stamp set. All right, so that is number 4. I'll bring these all back out at the very end. Let's continue on. I want to get 2 more done here. And the next couple will have a few more steps to them. All right, so. Okay. So this one here, the next 2 cards we're going to focus on Let's Stick Together. And that is all these lovely little gummy candies. And so this is a stamp and die set. It's got some really great sayings on there. Each of the sayings will kind of coordinate with one of the kind of gummy candies on there. You have the little sour peaches there, and it says you are peach. We've got the gummy worms that says sending warm hugs. You make life less sour is another word. Officially glad we're friends is the sweetest fish. I'm very glad we're friends is the little bear there. So what's cool about this stamp set is that you get the outline stamp, and then you don't need to worry about coloring with a coloring medium because they give you the solid that you can use inks to stamp this with. All right. So that's what we're going to do. I'm a big fan. I'm not a big fan of gummies, all right, in terms of the candy and such. But I do love Swedish fish. All right, I really do. I'll eat a couple and then I'm good. But those are the ones I really, really like. I don't like gummy worms. I don't like the sours, but I do like the Swedish fish. All right, so we're gonna do one for the Swedish fish. So again, I'm going to start with a piece of white cardstock, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to splatter with this one. I guess I should have probably splattered these all at the same time. That would have made sense, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and splatter. Okay. And we will dry that really quickly. Actually, no, I'll let it dry on its own because we're going to do a little stamping here. So what I did is I cut out 3 little Swedish fish out of white cardstock here. I also stamped the officially glad we're friends stamp saying, and I also die cut it out ahead of time. I want to show you a little trick on getting kind of perfect alignment with your stamps, especially if you're doing lots. And we do this when we have to do class prep or prep for events. So I have a little jig here. This was the paper I used for die cutting. Those are the 3 little fish that I've cut out. Now I'm going to use that as a jig, and I'm just going to use that top one. All right. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use that for to line up my solid fish. So I'm going to grab the solid fish from the stamp set, and I'm going to fit it right in my little jig. Okay. So I will get this lined up as best I can. All right, it's lined up. And then I'm going to pick it up. All right. And now what I can do is just stick my little die cuts in my little spot. And now we've got perfect placement on here for stamping. All right. So that is just a fun little tip, especially when you have bulk amounts to do. All right. So that's going to go in there. Now, because this is a new stamp, I'm going to condition this. So I'm just going to grab my conditioning eraser here. And this is going to take off any residue from the manufacturing and such that was left there, and help the ink really kind of stick onto that. And we're going to use strawberry. I'm going to just fix my camera here. We're going to use strawberry pie from 49 to Market. Okay. And we might have to do this a few times. So let's get our first coating of ink on there. Everything is lined up. All right, so that is the first coat. And the second coat. All right, now I'm going to do all three of my fish that way, and then we're going to do the details on there. All right, so you can see I'm getting perfect stamping in there. You know, I don't have to worry. I just have to line it up that one time, and then you're good to go. All right, so we can take that one out. And now we can do our third fish. Okay, so all our fish are now stamped with that bold color. All right, I can take this off, and now we're going to get the detail stamp, all right, which is going to give us all the little details. So I'm going to put this guy back. And grab this one, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to put it right in there and get it lined up. And then we're going to grab our little fishies and put them back in there. And now we can stamp our little detail on there. Again, new stamp, so I'm going to condition this just with my little eraser here. And let's stamp our details on there. One little Swedish fish. Oh. All right, so let's do the remaining two. Perfect little fish. All right, three little Swedish fish. Done. And I'm going to use this jig again, so I'm just going to leave it in there in my stamp platform. We're going to use it for the next card, so I'm just going to leave it in there. And let's go ahead and put our card together. Again, this is a very simple card. I am going to trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to take a quarter inch off the long and the short side, and then I'm going to mat this on black afterwards. Okay, so all I'm going to do is add my little fishies here. All right, so we'll have a couple down flat, and I don't want them upside down. All right, so we'll just put these at different angles, and then we'll put this one something like that, and then we'll put our little officially glad we're friends. A really clean and simple card. All right, so let's go ahead, glue our outside fishes down. And then we're going to pop this one up. So I'm going to grab some foam adhesives. And then I'm going to also pop this up. So we should be able to put a strip behind there. All right, and we've got a nice little clean and simple card with our little Swedish fish on there with that cute little saying, officially glad we are friends. I'll map this on a black cardstock, and that one is completed. All right, we got one more card to do, and this one's a little bit more detail, and we're gonna make these into those sugary sours. All right, so I have a cool little technique to show you with this. All right, so this one here, we're going to use the same stamp set. I've got the gummy worms. I've got, what else did I cut out? The peaches and whatever these little dudes are. I don't know what they are, but I know they're sours. All right, so we're going to do them. Okay, so gonna grab my stamp platform, and again we're gonna use the jig. I'm gonna start on my gummy worms, and I'm gonna do two of them at the same time. All right, so I'm gonna start with the heads. So the gummy worms come in three parts. You got the head, the tail, and then the overlay. All right, so we're gonna do the heads first. And I'm using my jig. I've only got the one set of gummy worms, but I'm using the jigs anyways. I don't need to use the jigs. I could have used an acrylic block, but this way I can build up my color. All right, and then we're going to stick our little die cuts in there. 1 and 2. And these little guys, I'm going to do blue and green. All right, so I'm going to do the heads in mint green. I did not condition these stamps, but we're going to go for it. I might have to do that in between. All right, so let's get our first color on there. Oh, my jig moved. But that's okay because I made sure it was stuck in. I'm going to condition my stamps because you can see that I'm getting a real spotty look on there. And that's just because of the residue that's on there. Okay, so let's do our second coat on here now. And the ink is going to go on much, much better now, at least I hope. Much better. And then I'm going to do just a third coat on here. Okay, so that is the heads, and now we're going to do the tails. So we're going to do it the same way. This time I will condition, and we're going to do these in, I said blue, but maybe we'll do them in yellow, because one. Okay, I don't have a great bird's eye view because the camera is in the way, but I'm pretty sure we are pretty close there. All right, so let's pick them up and making sure that's in there, into the corner. And let's condition these. And I'm going to do these in yellow. So this is the 49 Market Ink Daffodil. Okay, I don't have that top one lined up, but that's okay because the effect that we're going with, I'm going to be doing a layer of glitter on these to make these sugary. So I'm not too concerned if they don't line up. All right, they turned out really, really well. All right, now we're going to do the overlay on there. Okay, so let's grab, I find it easier to line up in the jig without the paper in there. All right, so, and this is what makes it so magical once we get the little faces and such on there. Make them so cute. All right, so there's that. And now we're going to go ahead and ink our little overlays now. Look how cute they are. Oh my gosh. Cute little gummies. Love them. All right, I'm going to put them to the side. All right, the other ones we have here is our peach rings. And I don't know where my jig is. Oh, there's my jig for this one. The little dudes, I think I'm just going to use an acrylic block. But the peach rings, I'm going to use the jig. And the only because I probably have to build up the color for this one. We're going to do kind of a two-tone effect on this. So uh-oh, I got color on there and I didn't want to. I don't know where that color came from, but oh well, we got some brown on there. Okay, so we're going to do a two-tone effect on the peach rings. All right, so I have my solid here. I'm going to use Pink Lady and just Peachy. So on half of it, I'm going to do the just Peachy. And then the other half, I'm going to do the Pink Lady. And we're going to have a two-toned. All right, and then I'm going to go over again. And there's our little peach ring that has a little bit of brown ink on there, but there's our peach ring. All right, and we're going to do the second one the same way. This one does not have any brown on it. That's a good thing. And we're going to do that same way. Just do a two-tone. And we'll do a second coat. All right, so those are our peach rings. And then we're going to do, I'm just going to grab my acrylic block for the next one. All right, then we have, oh, we got to do the overlays on this one, right? Yes, we have the overlays. So let me just use the, let's do the overlay on here, and then we'll do their little dudes. And then we'll really put this card together. All right. I don't think I have this one perfectly lined up, but now I'm rushing. All right, there are our peach rings. All right, and then, like I said, we're gonna do the little guy. Let me just put this away, and I'm gonna use my acrylic block for this one. So the little guys, we got one that's waving and one that's just standing. So I think it's my fingers that's giving all the inks here, but so we have two that are standing. So we're gonna do that one, and we're gonna do these in a blue. I'm using Frosty. And I'm just going to stamp this on my scrap piece here. That will work. All right. You guys are very quiet. No questions tonight. All right, so one, and I'm not too worried again how this is inking, because we're going to do a sugary coating on this. So that is that one. And then we'll do the other guy. And I think I'm going to change the color up on this guy. So let's do him in yellow. Okay, now we're going to do the overlays on these guys. One shot deal. Anyone know the names of these gummies? I don't know. I don't eat gummies, so except for Swedish Fish, I know them. Somebody help me out. What are the names of these guys? So, oh, they're Sour Patch Kids. Oh, duh. Thanks, Amy. That's right. Okay. All right. So they come in all different colors. So the blue and the yellow works. All right. All right. So there is my little Sour Patch Kids. Thank you, Amy. Oh my gosh. I feel a little stupid right now, but that's okay. Okay. So we have all our little sours now. Okay. So, and now we're going to have some fun and make them those kind of sugary coated. It's time to sit down for this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab my little grip mat here. And then I'm going to grab my little tray here. And I have Ranger Distress Stickles Dry Glitter. This is the clear rock candy. This is a nice fine glitter from Tim. All right, so it's got that sugar coating look to it. So I'm just going to dump some in my little tray here. And I am going to, I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to just go with it. All right. So I'm just going to squirt some glue. This is obviously needs to work for a glue that's going to glue dry clear. All right. So I'm just going to use my finger and get a thin layer and just kind of tap that on a really, really thin layer on all our gummies. Okay. And then I'm going to take that and I'm just going to dip that in. And now we have sugar coated little candies. All right. This will dry really quickly because it's such a thin layer of glue on there. And because this glitter is very fine, it's not going to need a whole lot of glue to get it, you know, to stick it down. All right, so there is my next one. And let's add a little bit more glue. So this is not super messy. You know, I don't do messy. I will have a little sticky finger here, but that's okay. All right, so let's do our little Sour Patch Kids. Now that I know the name of them. So any fine clear glitter is going to work for this. And now for our worms. And our last one. All right, so there are our glittery gummies. All right, and I'm just going to take the rest of my glitter. I didn't make too much of a mess. All right, and I will clean the rest of this up afterwards. That glue will dry on there, and I'm going to be able to clean that off, no problem. So I'm just going to put that to the side. And now let's put our little card together. All right, so like I said, those are not going to take long to dry. All right, now I just lost my pin. All right, I will find it. Glaze and glue. You know what? It's funny, Sherry, that you asked that because I was actually going to do glaze and glue on my fish. All right. So when I'm done this one, I'm going to put the glaze and glue on the fish, and that's going to make it look shiny. I did have that thought, and then it left me, and then you brought it back. All right. So I don't know what I did with it. It's probably stuck on me somewhere. My pin. Okay. So what I've done is I've cut a rectangle out of a soft pink. This is the perfect touch rectangles and die from Spellbinders. We're going to use that, and I already stamped and die cut the You Make Life Less Sour. So we're going to use that, and we're going to pop that one up with a foam adhesive. Oh, there it is. I see it. Haha. Okay. My pin appeared. All right, so I'm going to start with this at the bottom kind of area here. I'm going to center it left to right, like so. And then these guys here, I'm just going to randomly put on here. I'm just going to get placement first, and then all right, something like that. All right, so we've just got some random candies on there. And I think we'll pop these up, because why not? And then I'm going to go back to my Swedish fish and add a little bit of glaze and glue. And it's sometimes these finishing touches that you do, the glitter, the glaze and glue, that just really make these pop out. I am going to pop these all up because they're special. I need more pop dots. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought I only had thin ones left. I'm like, uh-oh. Found one more sheet of my regular. All right, and last but not least, and then this panel here, I'll put on a white piece of cardstock or white card base. All right, and there is our little glittery, sugary coated gummies. All right, our sours. All right, so there is that one. All right, so let me go back and I'm going to grab my glazing glue and let's do our Swedish fish. I think that's a great idea. All right, so glaze and glue, if you're not familiar with glaze and glue, that it is like very much like Ranger's Glossy Accents. I find it a little bit more fluid. I like the glaze and glue from Spellbinders a little bit better because I hardly get any air bubbles with this, and I find that this does not turn yellow. I find over the years, Glossy Accents will turn yellow on projects, and I haven't had a problem with the glaze and glue. So I really do like Spellbinders glaze and glue, but you can do the same thing with Glossy Accents. So when I do that, I kind of outline my image. Okay. And when you do this, you want to have a puddle. All right. Don't be stingy on your glaze and glue. It's going to take a little bit longer to dry, but you're going to have a really nice finish. All right, so that is coated. Now it will go on cloudy. I'm going to bring this up to the camera and you'll see that it is cloudy. All right, but it will dry super crystal clear, which we love. All right, so let's bring out everything that I created this evening. Really quick and simple cards. We have our sour candies here. We have our Swedish fish. We have our gummy bears, all right, our little guys here. We've got our little stamped gummy bear here, Hugs, I'm here for you. Then we did our shaped large gummy bear card. That's got a treat in his little paws there. And again, that's a shaped card that's going to open up. And then we have our big squishy hugs card with the large gummy bear on there. So a lot of sweetness going on here. All right. So once everything is dry, I'll take pictures and I'll post them on our Facebook page so you can have some close-ups of all the goodness here. I'll get some of these on card fronts as well, ones that I was going to matte on black and such, and then we'll post the pictures either this evening or tomorrow morning. We'll see how it goes. All right. So that is it for me, everyone. Again, that is the Very Sweet collection from Hero Arts. It's all about all those little lovely gummy sweets that you can find. I just think it's just a sweet little collection, no pun intended. All right, so that's it for me for this evening for What's Up Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. This should all be available on our website. There are a few, the candy one that I did not use, the candy dish this one here, is out of stock right now. But if you do want it, don't let us know, because we will break apart one of the bundles. All right. And the other one I didn't use, I really wanted to use, was the candy kebabs, which is a standalone die. But everything else should be online. But there is a Want It All bundle that will have all of the dies and stamps that I use this evening, plus these two dies, plus the little tiny gummy bear shaker elements, which are just so, so cute. And that's going to be your best bang for your buck. You'll be able to find that on the website. I don't know if it's under May. I think it's under April. All right. So if you're looking for that, but just look under Beary Sweet and you should be able to find it all. If not, just send us a message and we will help you out. All right. That is it for me, everyone, for this evening. Thanks for watching, whether you were live or on the replay. Until next week, everyone, have yourself a creative week and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.